Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to this video on deep relaxation. So in this video, what I'd like to do is give some instructions on how to do a particular laying down meditative practice that will help to deeply relax your body and I hope to actually in a way start to identify blockages and help to train your awareness in a new way of supporting your physical body to release blockages. I'll be talking about this particular technique. I won't really necessarily be demonstrating it. It's something that will take some time for you to practice it. I would recommend like at least an hour, maybe even up to 2 hours, like on a weekend can be really nice. But I'll be talking about the steps of the practice during this video, and I'll be doing like a little demonstration of the breathing technique. So let's go ahead and get into this deep relaxation and I'll talk about what's involved. So it's a laying down meditation. So what you want to do is have a comfy area set up for you to lay down. And I have this kind of like a demonstration here where there's a bed with an incline to it so that as you lay down, your whole spine can be straight and supported, but the whole body is not totally flat. And the reason for that is to encourage yourself to stay alert. So it can just be helpful to be more alert during this particular practice. Although if your body really needs sleep, that's okay too. If that happens, then that's natural in what your body needs. But if there's a chance for you to be doing an awareness practice and having a little bit of help with maintaining your alertness, that's one reason for the head to kind of be more elevated. Also, what this does, even just the meditation being totally laying down, is it removes the bend at the legs. If you do like a seated meditation with the legs in a really harsh bent posture, that can cut off some circulation or some flow at the hips. And depending on how flexible you are and whether or not you've had the experience of your body getting into that position, it actually it can be an okay position for your body to be in, but it also can be somewhat harmful position for your body to be in. So rather than working all that out, just get into a position where we know for all bodies it would be beneficial to have not a bend at the back in the knees where the knees are lifting up. You want to have the knees down lower so that this is more of an open angle here. So you have a nice amount of flow. So that's one thing about just laying down or having a slight bend. Also, having the head slightly elevated can help with getting more circulation down into the feet. And for people who have had trauma in the abdomen or the pelvis, honestly, like lots of different traumatic experiences do tend to get locked up in the guts. And since the heart and the head are up above, what can happen is the flow of fluid and energy down into the legs, it can get blocked by what's going on in the core. So having some elevation in the upper part of the body can allow gravity to help flow some more energy down into the lower extremities, which can be very helpful for deep relaxation. So number one, set up like that, and you want to have a comfortable, you can cover your body up. You want to be comfortable, so take care of the temperature, the light, the sounds, and the environment. You can have, if you'd like to play some music in the background, I would recommend using something that's very like ambient and doesn't have lyrics to it and doesn't have very specific rhythm to it, or if it does have a rhythm to it, for it to be very slow. So some meditative music will have a little bit of a spacey sound to them. Those could be okay, but also quiet is just totally fine too. Actually, a sign of your meditation being kind of a good deep one is when you get into that state where your senses are are cutting out what's going on in the outer world, and you're really focused on what's going on in the inner world. That's kind of the state that you're practicing to develop. When to do this meditation? I would recommend trying this deep relaxation not long after you get up in the morning, and it could be preferably like around the time of sunrise, or the hour leading up to sunrise, or the hour following, just depending on your particular body. What can be good is to get up, and if you have to poop and pee, take care of that, and then maybe have like your morning beverage. I personally find that it's helpful to have a like a little caffeinated something, whether it's a coffee drink, a green tea drink, or like a pre-workout drink, but something that will in a way energize your body, that will help maybe some of the flow to be happening. You know, the sun comes up and our bodies naturally start to come into a kind of a resonance with the day and start warming up with the day, so that taking a drink like that can be a little bit energizing, but tailor it to what your body needs, because what we want to do is we want to have enough energy to have the alertness of our awareness happening, and we're not necessarily falling immediately back to sleep, but we don't want to be so energized that our skeletal muscles are overly contracted, because if we use too much caffeine and it puts our brain waves into more of a high beta state, that is also going to contract all of the skeletal muscles in our extremities, and would be counter to the goal of deep relaxation. So maybe just taking in some warm fluid to relax and help flush things through your digestive system and relax things in that regard, and then also to slightly enliven your body and slightly just enliven your alertness, but don't overdo it. So whatever the right dose is for you, have a little drink. So you want to get comfortable, and what you want to do in this meditation, okay, so you're ready to do it, we got everything taken care of. What you're going to do is lay down, get comfortable, and again, cover yourself if you need to. You want to completely support your spine and your neck so that everything feels like it's just in a perfect, comfortable alignment and totally supported by the pillows that are underneath you, or the cushions. And as you lay down, just relax all of your muscles throughout your entire body, and really just feel the muscles falling down into the cushions. Just let as much of the weight as you can out of your muscles and just let it fall into whatever, and be supported by whatever it is you're laying on. So once you settle in this meditation, what you're going to do is you can do some breathing. And the breathing technique that I'm going to describe is sort of like a modified box breath is how I would describe it. And so what that means is there's going to be a box has like a square has four sides, so there's four different parts of this breath, and each of them you're going to hold for a count of approximately 4, something that feels good to you. The specifics are not you know, so you won't follow yourself, the right rhythm and the right pace for you. So the breathing is going to be activating or encouraging a pump mechanism, utilizing your diaphragm and other muscles, recruiting other muscles to kind of exaggerate the diaphragm pumping action to, of course, that's going to change. The diaphragm is going to move the breath in and out of the body, but we're going to actually kind of hijack that a little bit and use the diaphragm and the pump to actually push fluid. So push fluid to the extremities of our body, and then push and then draw fluid back into our core. What we're going to do, the diaphragm is this curved muscle at the bottom of the rib cage, and as it moves down, when we say take in a breath moves down, it creates a suction to draw air in from outside into our lungs. And then when the diaphragm moves back up, it pushes the air back out, or it allows the air to move back out. But if we often think about, well, the diaphragm's for breathing. Well, the diaphragm also, it's like moving the fluid of air in and out of our lungs, but it also can move the fluid that's in our entire body around. And moving the fluid in your body is part of what helps keep your tissues really healthy. Because our cells, every little cell is floating around in interstitial fluid inside of our body. So it's like we have our blood vessels, and the blood's flowing in our blood vessels. The blood pushes out, or actually more the interstitial fluid aspects of the blood and fluid push out beyond the capillary walls into the interstitial space. So there's space where our cells are floating in the space. And then so if maybe from your blood something that's pushed out was like a magnesium ion or something like that, and it's like, oh, it pushes out, now there's a magnesium ion floating in this interstitial space where the cell is, and the cell might be able to utilize that magnesium somehow if the magnesium happens to go into the cell, or whatever happens with the nutrients that can go into the cell and the waste that can go out of the cell. But so the diaphragm, this pump, is going to help to flush, make a wave through our body, flushing and bathing all the cells, all the tissues in our body with fluid. And if we keep doing that back and forth as we're breathing, making sure the fluid's going all around, it's healthy for our tissues. It helps to keep our tissues bathed in this fluid. So yeah, making a wave of water. So the breathing, how do we do that with the breathing, is we're going to use the diaphragm, starting with inhalation. We'll just start there. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale deeply. Well, we're just going to inhale. Let's just start. I don't have to layer this up. We inhale. So when I'm inhaling, my diaphragm is going down. And what we want to do with our core is actually all of the muscles that are in the core, we want to contract them around the center of our belly button, and like a little point that's maybe like a couple inches back behind our belly button. So we want to lift the pelvic floor, contract there, contract the abdominal muscles, the obliques, contract these back muscles here around into this center point as you're holding that breath. Now obviously I've stretched this out beyond 4 seconds, but and as you do that, what you can do also is you can press your belly button in just a little bit. You don't have to overdo it, but just put a little tension or a press into your belly button. That's so okay. I gotta do a better job of explaining that. So the breathing, there's 4 parts. One part is breathing in. The second part is holding the breath in. The third part is breathing out, and the fourth part is holding the breath out. Okay? Those are the 4 parts. So the first part of breathing in is naturally breathing in, and breathing in with a relaxed belly. And when you're laying there, you also want to always have everything maintaining, especially in your extremities, the relaxed sensation. So you're not recruiting any of your leg muscles to help you with your breathing, or your shoulder muscles or anything, or your intercostal muscles. You're not using those muscles. You're using your diaphragm, and then we're going to add in the muscles of your core to the special breathing technique that we're doing. So breathing in, 4 counts, just breathing in. You can do that. I know you can. So breathing in 4 counts. Then when you hold it for 4 counts, you also contract everything in the core in towards that center point. That's about 1 to 3 inches back behind your belly button. And you can also press your belly button in as you do that contraction for just 4 seconds. And then you release that. It's hard for you. So you've breathed in, you've done your contraction. When you release that, you're going to allow the air to go out. So you're breathing out for 4 seconds. When you reach the bottom, what you do is you hold for 4 seconds. And when you hold for 4 seconds, what you're going to do is you're going to do kind of the opposite, where you, as you're holding your breath out, you expand your core. You expand these muscles and open up your belly, especially opening up this area here around your lower ribs, even though you're holding your breath out. And what you're going to feel when you do that is it's going to create a suction of moving water and fluid from your extremities, from your head, from your legs, back to your core. So we're doing this exercise here, breathing back and forth. So as the opposite to the direction of the airflow, we're kind of moving the water and the fluid of our bodies in and out from the core of our body. I wish I had a graphic to explain this, but I think you can feel it. I'm going to try to do it here. So I'm going to breathe in, contract, out, expand, holding out. Oh, I messed up there because I was thinking about some. Oh dear. Okay. I want to add on, I started to do it there. It takes some concentration. It's easier for me to do when I'm just tracking that one thing. The other thing that I'd like you to do is when you're holding the breath out, I don't know if you noticed, but what happens when you hold that breath out as you exhaled and you bring these muscles out, which creates this sucking fluid back into your core. You're going to feel some stretching, probably around your throat and your chest. That feels a little weird. Maybe you haven't felt the sensation before. It's totally normal. It's the feeling of like pulling those tissues down towards the core. You can even feel it in different parts of your body if you haven't felt that before. And you might be able to see it on the video actually, where there'll be like an indentation that happens around here. That's all fine. The thing I wanted to do though is when you're holding that breath out, I'd like you to also take the 3 fingers, the middle, and just lightly press the bottom of your eyes right here as you're laying down. And just to do that, and you'll even feel, in a way, I feel like this enhances that encouragement of flow to go back to the core. So we're creating a wave of fluid into the core, then back out, and then back in. So when we go out, we press on our belly. It helps everything to go out because we're squeezing this balloon or whatever, and everything has to squish out. So out. And then everything comes back in. We put our fingers here, and it helps everything to go down, back in. All right, let me try to just do that together again. the four count in, hold, out, all right. Clearly it's a practice to do those different steps, and you don't have to do all of them, or you can practice up to being to do all of them in that flow. But as you have this idea now in your mind about how breathing is not only a way to move air through your lungs, which helps to oxygenate and detoxify. It's also a way to create waves of fluid through the tissues of your body. And that's actually a super healthy thing to do to help clean things, to renew tissues. Little cells just love to be bathed. They love to play and be bathed in healthy, salty waters. Okay, so what else you need to do is you can do that breath for as long as feels kind of natural for you. I want to say that it's probably a good idea to do about 25 full breaths like that. So that would be kind of like 100 of those 4-part steps. So something like that is probably going to feel good. You could probably do more if you want to, or you could do less if you want to. And you could try it with the pressing in on the belly button, or hitting these points here. These are acupuncture points here along the bottom of your eyes. So just like hitting those. Let's see. So, all right. So once you do that and you do that breath, what you're going to do is you're just going to rest. This is a relaxation practice. And so your practice is to learn how to deeply relax. It may not be something that you know how to do really well, and so practice doing it. It's great for your health. And so as you rest, what you can do is what I'd like you to do is really practice feeling, bringing your body awareness into your body, feeling, noticing, noting, observing what you notice, and letting go of thoughts. So when thoughts arise, it's totally okay. You can notice them and just release them, let them pass on by. If there's something that comes up like to-do lists or analyzing, problem solving, narratives, types of thoughts along those lines, which often have an emotional component linked to whatever the thought is, you want to be releasing those types of thoughts, because the practice that we're doing with this deep relaxation is to just have the body feel totally safe, relaxed, and in a state of restoration and health. And so other types of thinking processes that might elicit other emotional feelings of fear or stress in some way, whatever it happens to be, we just want to let those thoughts go for now. Let those inner imaginations, inner narratives, just let them go, and just be with your body awareness and noticing what you notice. So keep your body completely still. Just let all of the kind of the connection or innervation that your inner experience has with your muscles, let that fall away and let your muscles just be as completely relaxed as possible. It can be helpful to practice in the beginning to have your tongue kind of suctioned up to the top of your mouth, but to have your jaw actually loose. So your teeth separated, but your tongue suctioned to the upper palate of your mouth. If you're laying there and relaxing and it happens, your tongue falls down, that's fine. Just let it do what it naturally does. But when you start, it might be good to just drop your jaw and have your tongue there resting in the top palate. So yeah, keeping your muscles still. And if you have certain memories that come up or imagery that comes up, those things can be really good to note. And to follow what seems natural in those cases. I mean, in terms of you're going to have your own inner experience, and I can say in my practice, there have been times where imagery and memories come up, and I just let them go, notice them, and let them go, just like any other type of thought or experience that comes up. And sometimes there have been things that come up that I kind of process them right there in that moment, and somehow go a little bit deeper in some sort of like a cognitive or analytical process to look more or to invite more content to come up. So it can be just totally up to you. I would say those types of, like, I feel like that's a little different from like to-do lists or problem solving type of thoughts. Something like maybe a childhood memory that happens to come up, or some sort of imagery or some sort of sound that comes up on your inner experience, and you still feel very deeply in this meditative state. That may be something that you might choose to work with in some way. So just, yeah, maybe those are some things to keep in mind. And okay, so what I'd like you to do when you're meditating or when you're having this experience is to, with your body awareness, have basically this basic intention of feeling at the same time, feeling your hands, your feet, and your ears at the same time. That can be a good practice to start getting a sense of feeling, in a way, the whole body at once. But the hands, the feet, and the ears can be an area or areas that are appendages or parts of the head, the heart, and the core. And they're places where you might be able to feel the flow in those areas and get like a sense of how balanced the flow is and how regular the flow is. It's just a good little area to sample. So for example, you might notice that you may feel movement more easily in one area versus the other. It may take a little longer maybe for you to feel your ears. You might notice your hands before you really can feel your ears, or something like that. Every person is going to have a different experience. But maybe to use those three areas as kind of this litmus test to give a focus to your practice, and also to give you some information about what's going on with your physical body in terms of the rhythm of the flow, the openness of the flow, the balance of the flow that's in your body during the exercise. So that's kind of like the baseline, is to hold your awareness in those three areas. Or optionally, you could also just hold your awareness open and in a way feel your whole body at once. That's a great practice too. So choose some baseline practice. I'm offering this baseline practice of holding your awareness evenly in your hands, feet, and ears. From that point, what you're going to notice, or what I'd like you to do, is to notice when something new kind of comes into your awareness that's in your body, something like a pinprick, or something like a pain sensation, or something that seems a little constricted or blocked in some way. And when that happens, try to notice and move your focus to that area, and try to do it without moving your eyes. It's okay if you move your eyes, but try to learn the ability to move your feeling around within your internal body without moving any other part of your body, including moving your eyes. So that's a practice that you can do as a part of this exercise. So once you notice something like a little pinprick, it can be very, very common for people to notice these little pinprick feelings that aren't necessarily painful, but they can just be interesting. Like, oh, that was something interesting that I just felt. So say that there's a pinprick type feeling that comes up, and it's somewhere in like the left arm. Maybe you feel a little prick. So from that point, when you notice that and you move your awareness to that point and you just give it awareness, in a way, the awareness is like this, it's this feeling, it's this, I feel like the tissue of the body somehow senses that awareness as like an I'm here presence. Like, oh, I'm not alone. There's a presence here with me. And so imparting the awareness mindset, this quality of curiosity, impartial, non-judgment, or even a loving presence. Maybe it's right for you to really be imbuing a loving presence along with the awareness that you are bringing. But as long as it's not, some sort of awareness that would in some way not be life-affirming to the little area where you sense your little pinprick or your pain or your sensation. So when you move your awareness to that area, there's two things that you can do at this point. And so one of them is I would say, first of all, what you do is just hold your awareness there for some number of seconds. It doesn't have to be very long, but just give yourself some space to sort of connect with that area. The little pinprick or the sensation itself may even go away. But still to hold your awareness in that area for a little period of time. And then the next point, there's two different ways that you can proceed, which is to either move your awareness contralaterally or to move your awareness laterally. So contralaterally would be like diagonally, and laterally would be like a mirror. So if you were noticing something in your left arm and you wanted to do contralateral awareness expansion, you would start to not only continue to notice your left shoulder, but you would start to notice your right leg. And what I'm going to say is I would suggest that you start to try to feel your right foot. I feel like when you put your focus on the furthest most point, the extremity of a part of your body like that, in a way it's asking the tissue of your body or the movement or the energy, the quality of the flow of your body to reach all the way out to that area. And when it reaches all the way out there, it has to pass along all the other tissue on the way to get there. And so an aspect of your awareness somehow is, I feel like better able to catch and pick up on what happens anywhere along that path. So this contralateral focus is one option. And what you would do is you would split your focus between the original point and the contralateral point, or the contralateral appendage. The other option is to do a lateral focus and to mirror the focus split between the two. So if you notice something going on in your left arm or your left shoulder, what you would do at some point is you would split your focus and have your awareness rest in both your left and your right shoulders. And you would do that for some time. Now, what are you doing with this focus? Why are you putting your focus in these different areas, either diagonally or mirrored? Well, what will happen, or what may happen, is that our bodies, they're wired to move, and creating this movement across our body is like we are somehow knit together in a big X. And whenever we create a movement in one direction, there's always an implication in the contralateral side. If we need to reach for a book way out over here in order to maintain our balance, we shift some of our weight out in the contralateral direction to keep our body stable, to keep our structure stable and aligned and balanced. And so in order to do this really well, our body has to knit together these different fibers and nerves and coordinated messages in order for our bodies to be able to navigate the world in a really organized, streamlined way. So that contralateral focus, what I experience in my practice, and have heard others experience, is almost like there can be problems in a way along those contralateral paths, and when you put the focus contralaterally from something that you notice in one area, there oftentimes is some sort of a blockage or something that needs to be healed or opened up on that contralateral area of the body. And so what you're going to do is, when you rest and hold your awareness, maybe you might notice something happening in that contralateral area. And with your awareness, you want to bring some sort of a quality to let that area know, hey, awareness is here with you right now. And for you to connect with whatever to connect to that tissue with whatever kind of feeling, flavor, or tone that would be that you feel would be helpful for your body at that moment. Sometimes it's just as much as just holding that openness and that awareness and noticing the connection that something that's happening, that something is happening. That can be helpful just for your being, and your awareness can be receiving that feedback too. Because what can happen oftentimes is you will feel almost like a flow, another pinprick, a different type of sensation or area that contracts. The body can do all sorts of very interesting things during this practice, which I feel like are related to the body learning how to relax, learning how to really let go of these different areas of tension that have been held for many, many years due to the stress of normal life or due to traumatic stress that has happened either recently or way back in the past. So the body is experiencing, in a way, oftentimes through this meditation, the space for it to learn how to open up, how to release. And what I found in my meditations too, actually before I even started studying some things like acupuncture, that I would notice what I would realize later, like these very strong sensations, sometimes heat, sometimes pain sensations, sometimes flow sensations, sometimes tight muscles and then open muscles and changing. But they would happen a lot of times in these different like acupuncture points, or I would actually feel what are described as meridians. Like I would feel these different channels in my body before I'd even studied that body of work. So I feel like there's some confirmation there to this technique is something, in a way, that you're using your awareness as it's not really an acupressure. You're just applying awareness to the points that you're actually finding your body needs. So you're not relying on a practitioner to come around and poke and prod your body, or study in some book and know that some point is here, or intuit something about your body, which other people can do all of those things. You're actually working at practicing and developing your own skill to be able to find what's blocked in your body, and to be able to then also find practices that are going to help to support your body to let the blockages go, and to help them to release. So a lot of times, sometimes just the practice of relaxing and learning how to do that and repeating that enough can be enough to retrain your tissues to go back into that relaxed, healing, helpful, restorative state. So that's the contralateral. You can do the same thing. You can do the same thing laterally, but I find when you do the focus and split it mirrored across your body, oftentimes it has a little bit of a different focus. For me, I feel like usually it's not necessarily the same constriction that comes up. Sometimes it does, but I feel like for me, usually the mirrored situation is giving an opportunity oftentimes to kind of present a pattern or a template of what health looks like. Sometimes the left and the right side body, some sort of pain or constriction will be bound up, say in the left shoulder, but the right shoulder may feel very healthy and strong. And so in the practice of splitting your focus laterally and just noticing this mirror view of the body and what's going on in either place, you can actually be, in a way, sending encouragement and just an offering for the side that has some sort of stuckness or some sort of healing that needs to happen, to say, hey, here's a template. Notice this other side and what's going on in this other side, especially if the other side is feeling peaceful and is feeling, just feeling very, very like serene, in your relaxation, or open or healthy, whatever kind of positive feeling might be happening in one side of the body, to just open up the awareness and hold both of those in your awareness at the same time, with some encouragement for there to be a pattern, a template in your body to heal and return that serenity to both sides of the body. And so that's kind of that's what you're doing. You're kind of just repeating this process of having a baseline part of your process, part of your practice. So say holding your awareness equally between the hands, the feet, and the ears. And then when you notice something coming onto your screen that is some sort of constriction, hold it there for a moment to give it some space, and then split your focus or split your awareness either contralaterally or laterally, and just see where that goes. So that's kind of like the core part of this practice. I would say also you can go even deeper with this, and you can be practicing how to learn qualities of fullness, balance, steadiness, and effervescence in your head, your heart, and in your core, and then in your whole body at once. So as you could do a practice where you kind of, as a baseline, like cycle your awareness through those three main parts of your body, the head, the heart, and the core. And as you cycle through, you can just be practicing like, well, what are the little awareness adjustments, or maybe very, very small micro adjustments in terms of dropping away tension, or maybe contributing some sort of imagination or positivity in the form of encouragement, affirmation, or loving kindness. Like adding something, you could do that too, but just to play with, like, how can you influence in your physical tissues feelings of fullness? So for example, if you're just practicing with your head, how can you have your awareness feel to where you're feeling fullness in every space of your head space is full? There's no sense of somehow like a black area or some area where your awareness cannot penetrate. You can feel practice some sort of balance between the left and the right side of your head. You could practice feeling some steadiness to the sensations. So if your sensation that you're noticing is warmth, or if you're feeling some sort of flow or pulsing. It's like whatever the feeling is, if you feel it, if you can notice what the rhythm is, and if you can bring a regularness or a steadiness to that rhythm. You can also be practicing the effervescence, and I feel like this one is actually this one is a very significant, important one. And this effervescence, it can be a feeling quality of something like goosebumps, or sparkly chills, or a feeling of floatiness, or feeling like light, like a feather, or like feeling an uplifted sensation, or feeling a sense of like physical feeling of visual light or brightness. It's like these different ways I'm trying to describe feeling. It's kind of challenging, but this effervescent quality, to practice learning how to help your body to feel effervescent, and noticing what specifically helps your body to do that. And when it starts to happen, when you're able to do that more, giving your body more and more of that feeling of the effervescent sparkliness is the healing. It's the healing intelligence of your body coming online. It's your birthright coming online. And that is what you really want to be focusing on and supporting, encouraging, celebrating. Because that is I believe that is the power. That's like you're connecting with kind of that innate intelligence of life that is within your body, that is within your being, that is all of life, and you're connecting with that, and just happen to be perceiving that as some sort of effervescence in that moment, as a sign, as a signal. So to just learn how to get there and to keep doing that as much as you can. Okay, so those are the practices. Let's see. I would recommend doing it in kind of a quiet space. Let's see. Regarding sleep, you might drift off to sleep here and there, and that's okay, because you're learning how to deeply relax your body. And in a way that if you do drift off to sleep and have some dream imagery come up, or even memories, that may be they may be something that are really relevant and meaningful for you to process in the present, in the moment, and to learn from, to let go. Maybe there are specific actions that you might need to take based on what comes up in the imagery, the dream imagery, or the memories that happen to surface as we're doing kind of a practice like this, a meditative practice like this. And so I would just encourage you to do this as long as feels natural, how much time you have to do it. Sometimes it will be, maybe it will be a shorter period of time. Sometimes maybe 2 hours, and it will go by, and you're like, wow, that was 2 hours went by, and I was doing that practice. That's great if you do that. And when you choose it's time to shift, I would encourage you to maybe include some of those vagus nerve reset exercises at the end. I've noticed, like for me, when I get into a really deeply relaxed state, some of the neck tension that I usually feel will be a lot less. And so I'll do some of those vagus nerve reset exercises for the neck. There's some where you look with your eyes first to the left, then you look to the right, and back and forth. Those types of ones. You can even just turning your head, to just notice what was my range of motion in my neck before I started and after, or in some body part you're working on. But just as you're coming back into the movements, coming back and moving, I just encourage you to do some stretching. It can be a good time when your body's relaxed and feeling warm to actually do some stretching at that point. Okay, so that is the Very lengthy description of doing the deep relaxation practice. Yeah, and this is a okay. So I just invite you to do that. Try some of that. I hope that I can add. I hope that this has added something to your toolkit and something that you can try and something that you can notice what's really relevant and important for you and the direction that you need to go with your practice by trying some of the techniques and the offerings that are in this particular video. So I wish you the best and take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye.